Is it recording? Yeah. Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi when they cry Kai Minagoroshi. When did I last record? July 25th, it is now the 3rd of August. I believe it, was it? No. Yeah, I think it was the day after the previous record session where I did the longest editing I have done in forever. Because the next day I recorded 2 parts for Rune Factory Oceans and 2 parts for Shining Force, which I've only just now got around to uploading on the main channel for. Got 7 parts in total, I think, so far for that one. But anyways, so I had that recorded, so that was like also another rare occasion where I like recorded 4 parts, 2 different LPs, in between 2 different LPs, one sitting, right? So I had all that to edit, but on top of that, the previous record session I hadn't got around to editing for this LP at that point. So you know what I did? I edited it all in one day. It was really time consuming. I mean, my gosh, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Higurashi recording was like over an hour, 40 odd minutes. And that's not even taking into account how long it takes for, like, sometimes it'll take quite a while for the video to save. Pain in the ass, that was. Well, not so much a pain in the ass, and more of a, this is such a chore. Well, I guess that would count as a pain in the ass. Sorry for interrupting your lunchtime, but can I have your attention, please? My classmates looked up at me with surprise. I stood at the front of the room and banged on the blackboard. Hey, cut that shit out. I needed to get their attention. You can listen while you eat, so I want to talk about our classmate Satoko Hojo. Everyone went quiet as soon as I brought up her name. They all knew how bad of a situation Satoko was in. Remembering what happened to her last year, they understood how critical it was that she get help as soon as possible. Is my microphone getting hit by the fan? I can't really tell. I mean, I'd be able to tell if I was using Audacity, but since I'm not using Audacity with a commentary, I can't tell. But the fan is within range of the microphone. I don't know. Yeah. Everyone was thinking they wanted to save Satoko if they could. But they hadn't done anything because they didn't know what they alone could do. I don't think there's need for me to explain what's going on with her. As you all know, Satoko's been absent for 3 days in a row. It's been 3 days since she got kidnapped by her uncle. He called the school and told them that she still has a cold, but I don't believe that. She hasn't even visited the clinic in these past 3 days. My classmates, think about this logically for a moment. If she's really that sick, why would he not take her to the clinic for 3 whole days? Damn it. Okay, go back then.
It's hard to believe that she's been sick for that long, yeah. You must have a clue, but if that's Keiichi, should be seeing a doctor.
The whole class agreed that it was a bit strange. Everyone had been thinking the same thing inside their hearts. However, no one had really come forward and talked about it. This was a good start. Just think about it. Satoko is the healthiest girl in this village. She won't even get sick after eating food that's past the expiry date. But now she somehow gets sick all of a sudden and misses school for 3 days? That's hard to believe, isn't it? The answer is simple. Her uncle is forcing her to stay home. We've reported this case to the Child Consultation Center. However, they're putting it on hold. We went there, but all they told us was that they can't talk about it due to privacy reasons. What do you guys think about all this?
I think it's wrong. They all know about her aunt and her uncle treating her last year. Besides, Satoko-chan was living happily with Rika-chan. It's wrong for him to force her to move out of there and keep her away from us.
The sight of Rena letting her emotions speak for her when she was normally so quiet demonstrated most of all just how dire the situation was. Rena brought an intensity to this that I couldn't, since I often yelled and shouted about things. Are we just going to leave things as they are? Satoko is our friends. She's our classmates. We'd spent time together in this small classroom and we're like family to each other. We learned together, we played together, we ate together, and we fought each other at times. We spent so much time together that our relationship is as tight as our families. Should we neglect someone who's that precious to us? Raise your hand if you want to neglect her. I'm sure none of you want to do that. No way. We must help Satoko. But be a bit quiet. It is 8 in the morning here, so don't make it so I have to shout too much. Class was filled with commotion, which is exactly what I was looking for. The louder I talked, the louder my classmates got. They were getting all fired up. The more I let my true color show, the greater everyone's emotions became as well. Our club is already making its move. We're trying to figure out how we can save her. Did you know that, Tomato-kun?
No, that I did not.
Let me tell you what our plan is. Don't worry, it's not something to leave. We're trying to fight, but without breaking the rules. In truth, nothing is more effective in society than taking an orthodox stand. Playing underhanded and striking by surprise may seem more effective, but that's as inefficient as a jack-in-the-box. A real orthodox attack can punch through anything. Yeah, I've heard that even in karate, a straightforward punch can deliver the greatest impact. When you think about the physics of it, it's only a natural, straightforward, simple head-on strike would have the most power. We're already doing the right thing by saving Satoko, therefore there's no need for us to do anything underhanded to accomplish that. We need to fight openly. So, who are we fighting against?
Wait, who are we fighting against?
That's a good question, Nakamura-kun. This is a fight, true. However, we're not going to be violent with anyone. We're following the rules. This is the honest way to conduct a battle. Before we go any further, let me get back to just how we're going to save Satoko. This is the current situation. Satoko's there. Her uncle is locking her up inside the house. Apparently, she had no obvious injuries as of yesterday, but we don't know for sure she hasn't gotten hurt since then. Besides, preventing her from going to school is already child abuse. Check this out. This is a brochure that Mion brought from the Child Consultation Center. It's written clearly in here. Keeping the child away from school is abuse. On top of that, her uncle left Satoko on her own for a year. That's considered neglect. Neglect also counts as abuse. However, the Child Consultation Center didn't even take that into consideration. They ignored the fact that he neglected her for 1 year, and they believe that she hasn't come to school because she's sick. They conclude that Satoko is not being abused because she had no obvious injuries at that point. What do all of you think?
I understand this is a blatant case of child abuse. Just because she doesn't have any injuries doesn't prove that she's not getting abused. I agree with him. How come they can't see it? It's so obvious.
From what Mion's heard from inside their office, 2 or 3 days isn't enough time to determine if abuse is taking place or not. Apparently, they can only recognize the abuse after it has continued over several months or several years. She says they have to evaluate the situation very carefully. So, what do you all think of that? Do you think keeping Satoko in that house for several months is a good idea?
No way, no way!
Exactly, absolutely no way. The Child Consultation Center has no idea how much danger Satoko is facing right now. They don't know how terrible it was for her last year. That's why they just put her case on hold. What would you do, Tomato-kun?
Sir, I think the issue here is that the Child Consultation Center isn't grasping the urgency of the situation. I think someone needs to go there and explain to them how serious this is. Right, it might be routine for them to wait and see what happens. But in Satoko-chan's case, that's not applicable. Her uncle was abusing her last year too. He was taking out his stress on her. After the death of her aunt, he left Satoko-chan all alone and disappeared somewhere for an entire year.
You know what? We even have information that he disappeared because he tried to move in with his lover in Okina. What was Satoko doing while he left her? She was fortunate because Rika-chan offered her a place to stay. What if Rika-chan wasn't there for her? She'd have no other choice but to try and survive on her own. Furthermore, we also know that he came back to Himizawa because his lover disappeared somewhere. In other words, she dumped him. Well, she, in a way, got dumped because she's dead. He had no choice but to come back to Himizawa and he forced her to go to live with him again. Her neighbors have seen her doing the laundry too. The reason he took Satoko with him is clear. He took her so that she could work as his slave. Could anyone do something like that? Is there anyone in his classroom that could call such a rotten person a parent after he spent a full year playing around with his mistress only to come waltzing back and throwing his weight around? No way! Right, he's not her guardian, but the Child Consolation Center still calls him that. They claim that they have to go through family court in order to take away his parental rights. Who has the right to decide whether he's good enough to be Satoko's guardian? It shouldn't be the court. It should be decided based on common sense. I can say this clearly. He is not Satoko's guardian. We need to make that clear to the Child Consolation Center. This is like not the right time of the day to record audio. This is gonna be how like passionate and loud all the characters are gonna be. I should have known. Child Consolation Center is the only organization that can help Satoko before she's physically abused. The police won't move unless it develops into a criminal case. Do you think that we're going to wait until Satoko becomes a victim? We can't just sit around until that happens. That's why we're going to make our move now. We hit the October Child Consolation Center yesterday. This is what they wrote down after we did 5 classmates of Satoko Hojo made a visitation to request a protection. You know what that means. 5 classmates are not enough. We need your help. We need all of you. This is your chance to do something meaningful in your life. If you don't help us, you're not our friends. All you have to do is support me. I will do all the talking and our club members are going to do all the fighting. We just want you guys to support us. If that's not enough, feel free to join the fights. Let them know the spirit of the Hinamizawa branch school. My Barakun, what is going on? Chie, since they looked into the classroom, the commotion having attracted her attention. As soon as she tried to step inside the classroom, someone behind her stopped her. The principal. Miss Chie, I would like to have some tea. Would you make me a cup, please? It was a clear display of his intent not to disrupt Keiichi's speech. Are you sure? There are lots of young children in the class. They all go to the Child Consolation Center. How can we explain it to their parents? Chie. Frere-san, what's going on in here? Everyone's trying so hard for Satoko's sake. I can't do anything, so I need their help. I can at least try to stop you from stopping them. She had never seen Rika staring at her with an expression like that. She was surprised to see Rika looking so determined. Why would you want to stop them? Principal. This is splendid, isn't it? They should do what they can. I will take responsibility for whatever happens. Maybe that was the principal saying, why would you stop them as well? Principal pounded his own chest. Chie-sensei couldn't object any longer. I understand. Please make sure that no one gets hurt. You all must follow the rules and mind your manners. You have to promise me that. It's a field trip. Thank you very much. I'm proud of you, Miss Chie. My students are teaching me many lessons. Yes, I've made my decision. My students are like my own children, and what mother wouldn't protect her own children? Alright, head back out as soon as you get home today and meet us at the October Library. The Child Consolation Center is on the first floor. Yeah! Wait.
Chie-sensei.
Wait. Sensei, are you going to stop us? I thought it was misspelled then, but no. Certainly not. I truly understand your passion. I'm going to support you as long as you follow the rules. Yeah! I'm coming with you to make sure you behave yourselves. Is that okay? Yeah! Alright. Here we go. We're all getting fired up. But not too fired up, because it's like 8 in the morning. We headed for the library as soon as we got back home from school. I'd expect that few kids wouldn't show up, but surprisingly, everyone came along. You underestimate well, everyone in that village, you know, they got each other's backs, man. And how could they not be, you know, convinced to go along with us after Keiichi's passionate speech to them. His speeches always convinced people to be like, yeah! I could just tell how driven they were. It was also encouraging to have Chie there with us. I have to admit I had been feeling a bit guilty for dragging Ever into the consultation center. But as long as Chie Sensei was with us, I didn't need to feel that guilt. Ibara-san, please come to the counter. Hello, I'm Ibara. How can we help you today? As I wrote in the registration form, we came to tell you about the danger Satoko Hojo's in. How many of you are here today? And how are you all related to her? We're Satoko's classmates and her teacher. There are 27 of us. 27! So, does that include Chie? Because if that includes Chie, that means that there's 27 students at the school. It's like, how? It's like, well, if we count Chie, but instead replace her with Satoko, then it technically would be 27, wouldn't it? So I guess the school, like overall, including the principal and Chie, is 29 people. Well, our consultation room is not very large. Can we ask just a few people to come inside as representatives?
Then shouldn't you prepare a bigger room like a meeting room? I believe you should be arranging a room for us, not asking us to adjust to yours.
Oh, please just give us a moment. Getting sassy. Receptionist seemed troubled. She told us to head back to our seats and started to make a phone call to someone. Good job, Ren-san. I consider myself a pro, and even I thought that prep was perfectly timed.
How are you trying to compliment me?
Ren is good at reading other people's minds. Sometimes she can use that talent against the enemy to intimidate them. A strange atmosphere permeated the office. It must have been the first time the whole class had visited on the behalf of one child. It was as though we were here for a school trip. Well, hello, I'm Hariyama, the manager of this center. Please take a seat. I'm sorry for bringing the whole class to your office. I'm Chie from the Hinamizawa branch school. We're here to talk with you today. And we brought, all the kids from the school have these little drums. This is like their, battle drum stuff, to, elevate everyone's moods. They were treating us so differently now that we had 5 times as many kids plus 1 adult. Instead of that small consultation room, they took us to a big meeting hall. On top of that, the manager was there alongside the lady from yesterday. I will let my that's probably Chie. I will let my Barakun do the talking. It's kind of, you'd be like, wait, you're gonna let one of your students do the talking, not you, the teacher? Chie Sensei sat down at the far end of the table. She was just here to look after us. Besides, like I'd said, we were the ones who were going to fight. It was fine if Chie Sensei just stayed there and watched us quietly. I'm Keiichi Maibara. Nice to meet you. Well, I've heard that yesterday you visited us with 5 of your friends to present your valuable thoughts to us on Satoko Hojo-san's case. Are you here on a different matter today? I hadn't expected that they would start the conversation. What were they thinking?
I don't like how ambiguous this feels. It feels like they're debating how to move, unsure if the fault lies with us or not.
Kei-chan, you should clearly tell them why we came here, letting them know that they're in the wrong. My friends were analyzing the situation behind me. It felt like I was having a meeting with the president of a foreign country. I can totally picture Keiichi in that role. I wonder how good he would be at it, considering he's got away with words. Actually, that wasn't far from the truth. I was sort of the prime minister. I was representing the whole class. I needed to be polite, but stern. Alright, let's attack from this angle then. Kei-chan, tell them something like this. Got it? Mion gave me her attack plan. This really is how Mion operates best. If she's weak on defense, then I can bear the brunt with impudence, while Mion's issues perfect orders from behind. I took my friends' decisions and advice in consideration and calmly opened my mouth. Now, first let me confirm something with you. We've come here today to make sure that we came to convey yesterday was properly conveyed to you. So I apologize if this seems rude, but could you please tell us how much you grasped from our conversation yesterday? It's alright if that just means reading a memo aloud. They became quiet for a second. It might have only been a short time, but the silence felt much longer than that. I could see the manager's expression turning serious. He thought he was just dealing with a social studies class, but suddenly his response changed to that of one dealing with a protest group of local citizens. From my understanding, we have acknowledged that you came to appeal that Satoko Hojo-san is in an extreme situation, meriting temporary protection from our agency, that we should expedite our response. I believe that our staff at the time explained that we are not taking our situation lightly, and are currently discussing the appropriate measures. So taking into consideration the fact that Satoko Hojo was suffering abuse from her uncle at this time last year, you still believe an urgent response is unnecessary? Well, our organization has no confirmed records that Teppei Hojo-san was administering abuse at this time last year. Mutter. What? What the hell were you guys doing last year? She was being abused by both her aunt and uncle. Please don't tell us that you were only aware about the abuse from her aunt. Normally we don't talk about such private affairs, but under these special circumstances, I think it's acceptable to say. We are aware that there were trouble between Satoko-san and her aunt, Tame-san. However, we have no record showing that her uncle was also involved in the abuse. In fact, when we interviewed her neighbors, several mentioned Tame-san's slight hysteric tendencies, but none ever brought up the name of her uncle Teppei-san.
We believe that's simply because his abuse didn't stand out under the shadow of her aunt's especially vicious nature. We don't believe that constitutes evidence that her uncle was not abusing her as well.
I see, so you claim there was a likelihood that Teppei-san also inflicted abuse on the child at this time last year. The manager and staff beside him jotted that down with a pen, as if to show that was their first time hearing the information. This is why we came here today. We believe the Child Consultation Center doesn't have a proper understanding of her present situation. We believe you should be able to see how urgent the case is once you fully understand it. I see. We're taking that into consideration. Please allow us to do a more thorough investigation into Teppei-san.
We mentioned this yesterday as well, but our uncle had abandoned his responsibilities as guardian for over a year. We received no response on his information yesterday, but what is your organization's opinion on this matter?
Of course, our office is aware that Teppei-san was absent from his residence for a year, and we have interviewed him on that matter. So what was his excuse? I mean, you can't talk about it for privacy reasons, but if it's conveyed all of you, it must have convinced all of you, it must have justified leaving her alone for a whole year, right? We believe living with his mistress and occupant is sufficient reason for abandoning his responsibility for a full year, then we would like to receive that in writing. No, is that what happened? He explained to us that he was forced to work away from home in order to raise Satoko-chan, so this is our first time hearing that. What the hell? They just believe that crap?
If it's your first time hearing that, then you should also know Satoko has been absent from school 3 days in a row now. While he contacted the school yesterday to say she had a cold, the only hospital in the village, the area clinic, has no records of her being examined. What do you believe the proper response is for a guardian who refuses to take a child to the hospital when she's been bedridden with illness for 3 days in a row?
Well, we confirmed that she was absent one day, but 3 days in a row is news to us as well. However, our social worker met directly with Satoko-chan and confirmed that the child in question denies the occurrence of abuse. When we asked if she wished to continue living with Teppei-san, she answered in the affirmative. So there's no abuse as long as she says so. That's one of the more difficult aspects. Whether the child herself feels she is suffering abuse or not is a very important factor. It's much like the definition of bullying. While the bully may not believe they are bullying, it's bullying if the recipient believes it is.
So you can't do anything unless she admits that she's been abused and seeks her help herself.
No, that's not quite how it works. Our organization investigates the child's environment. If we find any problems that might harm their lifestyle, we take appropriate action to protect them. However, we don't believe Satoko-san's case has reached that level of danger at present. No urgency at this point. That was exactly how the Child Consultation Center felt about Satoko's case. Our classmates who had been watching the discussion burst into an uproar. How can you say something like that? What makes you believe that she's not in danger? First of all, Satoko-san denies the abuse, and not only that, she had no visible injuries either. Also, she is being provided with shelter, food, and clothes. We can't say that Teppei-san is not taking responsibility as her guardian. Both of them seem to have no complaints about their current living arrangements. I believe that we do not need further discuss Teppei-san's past. But unfortunately, we also believe that you and your friends are overreacting to this situation. Ooh. Overreacting?
Calm down, Keiichi-kun. Let's not take it too personally.
Damn it. Why are they treating us like this? They think that we're only acting this way based on what happened last year. I see. The Consultation Center was assuming that this year's case is in last year's cases were two separate issues. On top of that, Satoko was denying the abuse entirely. Teppei-san regrets the fact that he had to leave Satoko-san alone because of having to work for her sake. He promised that he would stay with her from now on and raise her lovingly. I heard a loud noise. Someone had just pounded the table. Everyone, including the manager, was startled. I figured it must have been Shion, but... Oh shit, it was Rena. Oh my god, whoa. Her face had turned as furious as a demon's. Man, we never see her face like that unless she's gone batshit insane. It's best for a child to live with their parents. There are things you can only learn from the loss of your family. We heard that Satoko-san was living with another mind for the past year, and has not been living under any adult. This could greatly harm her future as she is a sensitive growing child. I'm sure that in your friendship with her, you all believe she may be the happiest that way. But could you please give Satoko-san and Teppei-san the opportunity to restart their new life as uncle and niece, and watch over them kindly? Were you listening to any of the things we just said? You're saying that you're not going to help her unless Satoko asks for your help? How's she supposed to seek help if she's being locked inside her house? She can't even go outside or make a phone call. How can she seek help? We came here in her stead because she can't be here herself. But you're not even willing to listen to us. That's not what we're trying to say. We will remember that over 20 of our classmates visited to talk about Satoko-san's case. We'll take what happened today in consideration when we make further decisions about her case.
When are you all going to make the decision? Can you guarantee us that Satoko-san won't get hurt before that decision is made? If something happens to her, will you take responsibility?
If she gets even a single bruise on her body, you're in huge trouble.
Shion-san, that's enough. Please, tell us when you will make that decision.
That's right. How long is it going to take you? Like I said, we need to take the matter seriously and make a careful decision. In order to do so, we will continue to meet with the two of them and investigate so that her and her father, her uncle, can have a better relationship. Please wait and see what happens for a while. We ask you to do so for her sake.
So that's your response? You're saying that it isn't urgent even though we came here to tell you that it is?
I was starting to get lost in what they were trying to say, but Rena's words made me realize everything. We came here to tell them that they need to protect her right away. They clearly told us that they didn't see any reason to do so. We understand that there may be reason for urgency. We'll take your opinion into consideration and make our decision. Hope that will satisfy you. At first glance, it sounded like they were speaking humbly, but our insistence of the urgency of the Satoko's situation was spinning their wheels. They had no intention of meeting us halfway. Right, they are officials. Plus they have authority that can change the life of an individual like Satoko. Considering that, being a little overcautious and carefully deliberating matters wasn't the wrong response for them. I would have understood that if this wasn't so personal. But in reality, Satoko had no time to spare. We could see that, because we understood everything. We knew how Satoko would reject me after I rubbed her head because of the horrible abuse she got from her uncle. That nightmare will come true in just a few days. In that nightmare, I knew that I should save her, but I just wasted my time. I wasn't going to make the same mistake. I had to make a move immediately. My Barakun, did you say everything that you wanted to? Yes. That's it for today. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Everyone, please bow to them. Class President, will you take the lead? Thank you very much. Now, thank you for your valuable opinions. We'll be sure to shove it up our arse. Thank you, everyone. Be careful on your way home. We all came back to the enemies out together, and it was time for us to part. As class president, Mion gave everyone the notice we were dismissed. However, everyone stuck around to talk about what happened today. We came back to enemies out on our bikes, so we didn't really get to talk with each other. Now that we've gotten off of them, we finally got to say what we wanted.
This is the first time that everyone in the class has gotten together and fought for something like this.
Reminds me of the dam conflict. Everyone's feelings are united. That's true. None of these kids participate in the conflict, even though they might remember it from when they were a baby. What we did today was more polite than what they did in the dam conflict. No one's bleeding and there's no bombs or riot police.
Unity is the best thing about it, Misawa.
That's true. This old man's blood is boiling for the first time in a while. The people in Himizawa all got together to fight against the dam project. Everyone working together as a team means a lot to the villagers here. If there's one person coming to, should throw rocks at him. If there are 2, 4 should do so. If 3 or 4, then 8. If there's 1,000, the whole village should stand up and fight.
What's that? A figure of speech?
It's something that our grandma used to say. She was trying to tell the villagers to band together and fight. When there's one enemy, 2 should fight together. And when there are 1,000, the whole village should fight together. I see. She wanted the villagers to unite and defeat their enemies. It means more than that. Uniting to fight together is one thing, but it also means the whole village should unite and fight for the sake of an individual. Its real meaning is that everyone should share that individual's pain, sympathize with them, and fight for them too.
Wow, that sounds very similar to what's happening right now.
In other words, the battle that we're fighting now represents Himizawa as a whole. I see. Everyone supported me not because they were impressed by my speech, but because it's their nature to unite like that. I mean, all those other incidents where, like, I remember in one arc where Keiichi, was about to get his ass kicked in Okinawa or something like that, and then, some people from Himizawa started to just gather around and intimidated these punks that were about to beat them up. They got so intimidated by them staring them down that they'd be like, "No, just leave this arsehole, just leave." Classmates were all still sticking around and discussing the issues surrounding Satoko. For some of them, this was like a return of the dam conflict and also a big chance for those who never experienced it. It almost felt like a festival. Most of them thought that we didn't make much progress today, though. My brother, so their conclusion is that they're not going to take the soldier-san, right? Her answer wasn't that bad, but you're right in the sense that they'll watch her suffer. I live close to him, so I know what kind of guy that uncle is. He's not normal. I figured out that the people at the Child Consultation Center don't understand anything. But we just can't give up after today either. Minagoroshi and Sakamura-kun seem serious. Oh, it's probably them two having a conversation rather than Keiichi talking back to them there. I knew it was them, obviously. They're like the most reoccurring characters without a character portrait here. They weren't just supporting me. They wanted to make a move themselves.
We're gonna have to work hard to save Oja-san.
Yeah, we agree. It's hard to believe that these are the same innocent kids who are always running around the school. I'm really happy to see them so motivated. Of course we are. Satoko's our friends. We're going to save her. So please lend us your support again.
Oh my Mara-san, this is our responsibility as our classmates. We're not fighting because you're asking us to. We're doing this because we want to.
I'm impressed to hear that from you, Tomita-kun. Shall we go there again tomorrow? Who said that? Maybe it was Keiichi that time.
I don't think we should take any days off.
Consistency is important. I agree with Rika-san. But it's only going to end with the same result if we go there with the same people again. I think today was more effective because we were there with more people.
And shall we go there with even more people tomorrow, shall we?
Rena turned back towards everyone as she spoke. We all understood what she was trying to say. Not all children from Hinamizawa go to the Hinamizawa Ranch School, and half of them go to the school in Okuma. Those children are not our classmates, but they're still our friends from around the neighborhood. Hinamizawa is a small village after all. They know Satoko as well as we do, and they also know what's going on with her right now. Rumors spread at the speed of light in Hinamizawa. I can tell that by now everyone in the village knows about my embarrassing history of undergoing punishments. Yeah.
I'll talk to Daisuke when I go home, and then he'd come with us. I'll call my friends when I get back home too. School is not far from the library. It's a good idea. I'll try and get some people too. More people too.
This is turning out well. I think we can at least get 10 more people on our side. I'll try running out to a few of the old members of the kids club too. I think I can get at least 3 of them to come with us. I'll ask my friends from cram school too. None of them know about Satoko or our situation. They're just friends of mine, so it's only be about 4 people. I think it might be difficult to get all our adults involved. Well, the people on the town council don't want to have anything to do with the Hojo family. Because of what happened during the dam conflicts. How about older people? Can't you get old people on our side, Rika-chan?
Older people are bitter towards Satoko.
People who believe in the curse of Aishiro-sama really think that the Hojo family deserves what they get. So we can only get more children, but no adults. How many of us will there be?
At this rate, there are going to be about 17 more children. I don't know if they will make it, but hopefully there will be more than 40 of us. 40 people, I'm impressed, Keiichi.
Think 40 is enough, Rika-chan?
What?
I grinned and tapped Rika-chan's chest. It's not enough. 40 is not enough to knock out those stubborn people. We need at least 20 more. I'm sure 60 people would intimidate them. But where can we get that much help? You have no idea. My name is Keiichi Maibara. If I say I'm going to accomplish something, I will. Still haven't got around to the word of the day because this scene has just been ongoing this whole time. Oh, here we go. He's going to recruit this guy and probably get his friends to help as well.